I sit here speechless. I sit here knowing that our Supreme Court in an 8-1 ruling has once again chosen to ignore science, ignore international human rights standards, and ignore the basic duty of government. On Tuesday, in Chile's v. Salazar, the court ruled that states can continue the deadly practice of conversion therapy under the First Amendment. They called it religious freedom. But let's be honest, this is not freedom. This is permission to harm. And it's not as if the court doesn't know better. International human rights groups have condemned conversion therapy for years.
Ew.
Medical associations across the world have condemned it. Survivors have spoken out, again and again, about the trauma it causes. Yet, 8 justices decided that appeasing a select few mattered more than protecting vulnerable kids. You would think, you would hope, that the conservative justices who claim to protect life would recognize that the life of a teenager or young adult is worth protecting. But apparently, the life of a fetus matters more to them than the life of a living, breathing child who is begging to be accepted for who they are. And yes, this ruling is being celebrated as a victory for the Trump administration, which supported the challenge. A victory that comes at the expense of children's safety, children's mental health, and children's lives.
Yeah.
Now, the court says this only applies to talk therapy. But anyone who has ever looked at how these systems operate knows that's a technicality. We know the pipeline. We know how talking sessions turn into pressure, shame, coercion, and then escalate into more aggressive forms of so-called treatment. We know the statistics: depression, trauma, self-harm, suicide. This isn't hypothetical. This is documented reality, and the political climate around this decision makes it even more dangerous. People like Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene have openly said they would send their own children to conversion camps to reprogram them. She would hide that cruelty behind the American flag, or worse, the Christian cross, while promoting conspiracy theories that undermine public education and public trust. And now, with this ruling, people like her feel validated, empowered, justified. When I think about conversion therapy, I think about the Judge Rotenberg Center in Canton, Massachusetts, a place that uses electric shocks on autistic children. Through my work with ADAPT, I've seen the video. Young people restrained, shocked again and again, sometimes 30 times for something as harmless as flapping their hands. We all know what electricity does to the human body. We have seen defibrillators on medical shows. We know that electricity can stop a heart, damage organs, leave burns, and cause lifelong trauma. Shock is not therapy. It is violence. And calling it treatment doesn't make it less violent. This whole mindset that people must be fixed to be worthy echoes the philosophy of Peter Singer, who argues that a so-called normal life is more valuable than a life with a disability. That belief has been used to justify harm for decades. It is the same logic that says LGBTQ youth must be corrected. It is the same logic that says people with disabilities must be normalized. It is the same logic that says difference is a flaw instead of a part of human diversity. And here is the truth. One of the most basic responsibilities of government is to protect its people. To protect them from threats, foreign and domestic. To protect them from violence, physical and psychological. To protect them from systems that seek to erase who they are. But the decision in Chile's v. Salazar sends a very different message to LGBTQ youth. It says, your life does not matter. It says that with parental consent, a licensed professional can tell you that you are broken, unworthy, or wrong. It says that your identity is a problem to be solved. And if they can't fix you, the implication is that the world would be better off without you. Imagine being 14, 15, 16 years old, already scared, already confused, already trying to figure out who you are, and hearing that from someone who is supposed to help you. Imagine being told that your existence is a mistake. Imagine being told that the only acceptable version of you is a version that doesn't exist. That is not protection. That is abandonment. That is the government stepping back and saying, do what you want to these kids. We won't stop you. and the consequences are not theoretical. We know what happens when LGBTQ youth are rejected by their families. We know what happens when they are told they are broken. We know what happens when they are forced into conversion therapy. The rates of homelessness go up. The rates of depression go up. The rates of suicide attempts skyrocket. This ruling does not just open the door to harm, it invites it. It legitimizes it. It wraps it in the language of freedom and religion and parental rights, as if those words can disguise the reality of what's happening. And so I sit here speechless, not because I am surprised, but because I am tired. Tired of watching institutions that are supposed to protect people instead choose cruelty. Tired of watching children become political pawns. Tired of watching the same cycle of harm repeat itself decade after decade. But speechless does not mean silent. And silence is exactly what decisions like this depend on. So let me be clear. Conversion therapy is not therapy. It is not treatment. It is not healing. It is harm. It is violence. It is a violation of human rights. And no Supreme Court ruling, no matter how many votes it gets, can change that truth. We will fight back and we will win. Because justice is not optional. Because young people's lives are not bargaining chips. Because dignity is not up for debate. If this video meant something to you, please like it, share it, and subscribe to my channel so we can keep pushing back together. What do we want? Justice. When do we want it? Now. What do we want? Justice. When do we want it?
No.
Now. What do we want? Justice. When do we want it?
No.
Now. Thank you for being here. Take care of yourselves. And I will see you soon.